Alright everyone, I want to thank you all so much for hanging in there as we go ahead and get started with some more D&D right here on Lionhead Gaming. I know it's been a little while, but we're happy to be back with some more Song of Rapture this wonderful Thursday, as DM'd by Monsieur Omen. We're all here and ready to get started, so without further ado, I pass it on over to our wonderful DM.
So it's been a little bit of time since we last joined our adventurers in Song of Rapture. They've been sort of having an interesting time in the city of Inalin, one of the profound settlements in the elven nation of Illyria, currently dealing with not only something of a national boon, but in their eyes, possibly bane to the elven nation, but also a more personal and familial issue dealt with one of their closest companions, Persephone, having to toil with a hard choice to make between the sake of one's happiness and the sake of one's home. But what's been transpiring during all this time is not really my story to tell, so can someone sort of recap us what's been happening in the last few sessions of Song of Rapture to bring us where we are now? We can do some popcorning unless someone wants to just take it away.
Currently in Song of Rapture. After having run away over a year ago, Persephone heard that her brother Rael was to be married to Queen Titania. And it was clear to her from the start it might have been an arranged marriage. See, their father is a bit controlling when it comes to the heirs of the magical city. And her older brother had always been the type to just listen to father and do as he says, while she was the one that did whatever it is that she pleased, hence running away. But hearing that her brother was going to be forced into this marriage that he may not want, she thought maybe it was time to come home and see what was going on. And when they arrived to the elven lands of Illyria, the trees had overgrown and there was wild magic throughout the forest. It seemed that Fey life was bleeding into these lands as almost a direct result of the future union of her brother and the queen. The queen's children had already arrived, and them came a lot of Fey magic, and as more of it bled into the material plane, it created this magical overgrowth of sorts. After they met with Persephone's teacher, who happily guided them through the forest and back to Persephone's city, they learned a little bit more of this union and how supposedly the previous union between a mortal and Fey noble was the reason that Illyria itself was infused with magic. So it is to say that this union is going to do something big for the Elven lands. But they wouldn't find out exactly what until they met with Persephone's family. Her father, High Lord Kylon, her mother, High Lady Sontas, and her brother, Rael. Kylon explained to them that this was something in motion for centuries. A union between a Fey noble and one of the councilmen is something been discussed by the Eternal Oath, a council of all the leaders of Illyria. But for some reason, the queen was very interested in her brother, and Kylon wasn't going to reject the offer. For his son to be in a pivotal moment that could transform the very way that Illyria uses magic, and even the magic essence going through the Elven lands, this would be very good for not just the country, but for Persephone's family, who was kind of carrying a shameful burden dropped upon them from the previous High Lady that got them into a civil war and eventually led to the tensions that are currently there today. After only 2 days within the magical city, Persephone and her friends needed to get a little bit more information, so they all split up. Let's see, this is where I actually have my notes because I wrote the recap for this. Haha. We opened last episode with a trip beneath the city of Inalin to a dark elven undercity known as the Rootwork Bellows, where Tamar Khan and Swift Hollow did some shopping for atypical products. The Fey native watched closely as Swift Hollow's spoken code to the stall owners, trying to pick up on the tricks of the trade as he picked up on their cant. The next day, everyone gathered into Persephone's room with their breakfast to discuss what their plan was for ruining her father's plans and stopping this arranged marriage between her brother and the Fey Queen. But first, they needed information. Luna went to the library with Bran to do more research on the previous union of Fey and Mortal, learning that the Storm Matron was the one to be betrothed, but something canceled or destroyed their union, and released a terrible storm throughout the Elven lands as a result. This is what infused the forest with the magic that is there now. Tamar Khan was sent to trail after her father, High Lord Kylon, to get an idea of his routine so they could keep track of him during their stay. And as he did so, he followed the High Elven man to the very portal that he was trying to power. It was there that our monkey friend heard the passcode for the portal, Thea Valora, incorporating the family name and Persephone's elven name into one. Quildor and Samantha looked for the elusive daughter of Queen Titania and found the lady known as Calliope, the artful nymph. She shared with the duo that she had her own way of sneaking between planes and would love to show them through the Feywilds if they wanted. Swift Hollow disguised herself as a servant in the Thea household and infiltrated the bedroom of the High Lord and High Lady in search of the artifact that they used to open the portal to the Feywilds. When she discovered it, she learned that it was transported through magic and locked into a box that no ordinary pick would undo. If it were to be retrieved, she would need time to plan the heist. And Persephone went to talk to an old friend, the crystal tree that stood in the center of Inulin with magic flowing through its roots, the Zendalurada, or as Perse called them, Zendi. The tree told Perse that there was some malicious intent from one of the participants in the wedding planning, but they could not pinpoint who. Along with that, the magic being pulled from them to power the gateway into the Feywilds was taking a lot of Zendi's strength, but it was their nature to give and fuel the city with magic. However it was, the leaders of the land decided so. If Persephone wanted to do something about it, that would have to be up to her, but Zendi wasn't going to ask anything formally. Everyone regrouped as the day came to an end, and Persephone made quick friends with Calliope, both of them bonding over being whoever it is that they wanted to be. She gave Perse a dragonfly, her retainer, so that she could be called upon if the Valiant Vanguard decided to use her secret passage into the Feywilds. And after sharing the collective information they gathered, the pressure was on Perse to come up with their next plan. They still needed to talk to Queen Titania, the wedding was a month away, but the knowledge that there was somebody ill intent involved with her family was concerning. Not to mention, Persephone had only been back home for one day, and it seemed that she would have to leave almost immediately. She hasn't even had a chance to catch up with her mother or with Thrail after being gone for over a year. So she told them, 1 week. One more week in Inulin, and then they would go. How? Well, that would depend on her talk with her father. And as everyone separated for the night, Swift Hollow extended an invitation to Persephone to go to the Rootwork Bellows, a distraction that Perse was eager to accept. So, we rejoin the Valiant Vanguard in the elven city of Inulin with some time before their next adventure. What more will they learn and how will they spend their time in this magical city? Find out tonight as we write another verse in Song of Rapture.
Very well done, Mel. Give yourself some DM inspiration and roll yourself a D100 for that full-on long recap.
I already have inspiration. Do I roll
I guess you have to roll 2 or something. I don't know.
Oh, no.
Mamma mia. Oh. Oh, God. There we go.
Nice.
One moment. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Mamma mia. Do. There. Sweet. As indeed, a week has been planned for the Valiant Vanguard to spread their wings throughout the city to gather information, otherwise find something to do while a plan is being formulated, hopefully collectively brought together through some gathered information, or otherwise just having some time to breathe, unwind, and be home again, letting one's mind rest from their worries in order to recuperate and rejoin this re-enter the problem, rather, with a new perspective. In the city of Inulin, a week has passed. Very quickly as we can. Does anyone want to go through anything specifically they just got done? Just something, whatever. There are going to be a few moments that are quite key during this downtime that will take some spotlight time, just because certain things happen, but only a handful. So, like, just in terms of general stuff, letting the audience know at least what exactly transpired during the week while you were here. You guys accomplish anything? Yeah.
Tamar Khan, when we were investigating the town last time around, we were having a little bit of tour, saw one of the craftsmen in town was able to actually put some strange elven magic, some enchantment onto items, something that would actually alert their wearer to dangers about, and went about actually getting his old iron bar, now steel bar of Ressus, enchanted to actually sense out danger around him, to give him an edge if he was being attacked. Besides that, he wanted to get in good with this strange kingpin and the underburrows. Get in good by just doing some work and seeing if you can actually figure out if it might be the cause of what Persephone described as something leeching away from the activation of the portal and harming the crystal tree. Also, seeing if the kingpin or anybody else in town might have another lead on the fabled architects of the elves to see if anyone may have a history of building strange vaults, maybe even for other nations or from long, long ago.
Good stuff.
I guess I'll go next. Swift Hollow, during her and Persephone's excursion down into the undercity of this shining town, would be focused on, while using Persephone's natural inquisitiveness and curiosity, Swift Hollow would be busy mentally mapping out this entire place, no matter how long it took. If Persephone got tired, Swift Hollow would certainly escort her back up, but however long, however many hours it truly took Swift Hollow, she would be busy mapping out and committing to memory nearly or basically all of it. So she doesn't have to ask around and has a quick access throughout all the map. Besides that, she has been asking around gathering materials and furthering her own plans to help out with the general overarching plan that Persephone has for getting it ready. That's that, just unwinding. Getting good with Persephone's mom. But not like that. Hanging out with her. Tea time.
Sure.
That's also what I was mainly getting up to.
Samantha would spend some time sort of readjusting herself and getting in tune with her magical potential, and in doing so realizing that she needs some items would see to it that they were acquired, taking a old treasure of hers, a warg skull from 90 plus sessions ago, and getting it gilded by an elven smith in town, also getting some emeralds affixed to it in its eyes, and hopefully acquiring a delicately carved diamond for another potential use for another spell. After spending some time doing that, she also joined Tamar Khan, going down into the Undercity, trying to meet this so-called mob boss or, leader of this region or what have you. Just get a feel for this area, and more so just focused on trying to, oddly enough, trying to help Tamar Khan or ingratiate herself with him. He's proven to be quite the wonderful ally and asset, but there is some distance there that she is trying to rectify, sort of bring the Valiant Vanguard a bit closer together in its non-adventuring time. She also goes and gets another snake, as she does. She has piles of them before, she doesn't have any now, but she gets one, if possible, as a component of some of her new magic. And other than that, she just spends her time enjoying the city. It's been a long time since she's seen it, so she just wants to take some of the finer things of this place and, enjoy relaxation, all that kind of stuff, see some shows if they have that here, and continue reading her Elminster books as much as she can, since she does not need to sleep.
Yeah, I buy her a snake jug. It's like an alchemy jug, but just snakes.
Just only snakes.
Pours out snakes.
They even have cotton mouths.
Over the week, Luna would have spent a couple of days still in the library researching whatever she could about the Feywild, about the creatures there, and issues that they might run into when they go there, uh, some relationships between the courts. Other than that, she would have spent time with Persephone if Persephone did go out, try and gather ingredients, and learn a bit of her crafting compared to her Luna's own ability to make potions via magic, and also dip back into the Shadowfell and potentially try to see if she can speak to her former adoptive father that turned out to be a vampire that wanted to use her powers. Since it seemed like he was still kind of around helping her out, but she wasn't completely sure. She was just trying to contact him and just see, like, why are you still helping me? We literally killed you.
Nice.
Quill went around, got some weapons made, and just strutted his stuff in the city.
Just enjoying himself, as indeed. Got himself some weapons made from some of the unique metal they found here in the elven city of Inalin. But yeah, it seems like the Valiant Vanguard has been keeping themselves, most of them pretty busy, otherwise just simply enjoying themselves, having a break from, it seems like their greatest accomplishment they've been still winding down from the high of, and a recent quite tragic fight against some people back home at Oakwell. It's been nice to sort of enjoy yourself, although there is sort of a looming danger hanging over one's head. It's an opportunity to simply kick back and relax and enjoy the new places you're in. As we will return with the Valiant Vanguard 1 week later on Wednesday, March 30th, in sort of the early-ish afternoon, not on the surface of Inalin. Instead, we would actually find ourselves deep beneath the earth. During your time in the city of Inalin, within the Root Bellows, a name for this place has been sort of spoken in half-elvish tongue as Sharash, the Root Bellows. You've sort of made yourself something of an asset to these people, Tamarkon. You've had some help from allies with Swift Hollow showing you the secret way inside. You've maybe been joined by her and her hidden compatriot, not really keen on revealing the young lady of Inalin and her presence walking around, but still getting a chance to sort of get a good sightseeing. And also having a more silver-tongued compatriot joining you to commune with some of these creatures she might find herself somewhat familiar with. You, Tamarkon, have actually, in this week, found yourself in generally well-received favor of this individual, a dark-skinned, bright, moonlit-haired drow. Quite cruel in his tongue and, I guess, treatment of others. There are others of his kind that all respect and revere him, but he seems to sort of kick and scoff at them. Even these other creatures that you've sort of served along as a bit of a hand lackey, making your way up to the surface in night to move some supplies from the surface down below. These strangely, almost apish, almost just otherwise beastly looking humanoids that seem to be functioning more as pets, although you think there is more sentience and intelligence to them than expected. You've sort of been treated, as for the most part, as a pet to this individual. He's taking a liking to your sort of whimsical ways, but mostly in your ability to move and act unseen, to ship supplies with considerable strength and grace from above to below. And in during this time, with somewhat of a more of a, I guess, a person he considers your keeper, that to be Samantha, he's also found himself in somewhat favor of your other individual. And on this early afternoon, deep beneath the earth, you've actually both been called beneath the city to be praised. At the heart of the Root Bellows, beneath the surface of Inalin, the roots of the great crystal tree that seem to be sharded in these tiny pieces of the great crystal above all seem to conglomerate the deeper you go down towards this great building pit at its center. And all around, the sounds of dripping cave life can be heard, and eventually coalesced at the center of this great pit, where it seems as if water from the surface falls down, absorbed from the earth, and trickling and following the streams along these winding routes until it creates a great pool. But even from a non-arcanist's eye, you can tell where this water drips from the surface of this cave, from these roofs, down to the pool, where it strikes the bottom and begins to puddle into this small, glittering pond. It is seemingly coalesced and infused with magic to the point where you could see it glowing from the far distance. And at its center, as you approach, a line sort of stood and guarded by a number of these dark elves, these drow as you've come to know them, is a set of what looks to be floating, glowing rocks that line the center of this strangely iridescent, almost ghostly looking pond. And at the middle of them all is the individual who has called you to greet him on this early midday. The kingpin of this undercity, the one seemingly pulling all the unseen strings beneath the city. The kingpin Ranulfane. You would find yourselves on what looks to be once hardened earth. Instead, this soft, glowing, fluorescent bed of both grass and fungi, sort of a mixture between the two, what can only be performed and created through the use of magic. As if this whole place, still crackling with that strange arcane presence, has created its own little pocket of life, almost like a small piece of a forest beneath the city. Along your sides, you can see some of the strange life beneath this dimly lit place. The drow warriors who seem to be wearing slabs of leather armor, but they make sure to show their blades hidden on their or bestowed on their sides. At the tops, you can see a couple of more refined looking individuals who seem to be wearing soft clothing, more like capes and cloaks with bits of armor attached, but you could tell by the way they rest their hands upon these spider-shaped amulets that their weapons aren't ones you can see, they're ones that are formed by magic. And of course, some more of the strange beasts you've seen underground, these strange, chitinous, large insectoid creatures that seem to be used mostly as just mindless labor, moving large shipments of objects, crates and barrels and the like. You've seen some of what this individual has considered your kin, Tamarcon, these strange, like hunchback, large. People refer to them as cave bears, but really they're more like people. They walk on their hands and knuckles almost like an ape, even scaling the walls as skillfully, but they don't seem to act with much intelligence. And of course, crawling on the walls in such a magic-infused place, critters of the like, snakes, and especially spiders of immense size, some so large that even some of these drow seem to ride them to and fro, carrying objects from the surface to the bottom, without ever having to take a path. As at the head of this, standing on one of these floating rocks, you see this cruel smile turn back for you in a moment, acknowledging your approach before returning its sight to, it looks like the center of this great glowing pond, at which, in this glowing light, with soft, almost like fireflies floating around you, you see a shape, almost risen out of the water, as if the water itself had taken something of a medium, almost a humanoid shape. And he seems to be facing it quietly for a moment. His words are soft and mumbled. Before eventually, after a few moments, you guys are given some time to rest and wait. The water just seems to flatten itself and disperse across the pond. And the man turns to face you with that same wicked cunning grin. Ah, there you are. Welcome, welcome. Sorry to call you so late into this under night. But I had to give you my praise, as you see him stepping to and fro off these rocks that seem to bob beneath the water surface before rising back up, strangely buoyant in the water. He'll step to and fro, eventually landing on the soft grass with a very gentle, almost floating, graceful step. You're doing well.
Praise.
I'm certain you do, little pet. Have you been enjoying your time here? Have you come for more work, or are you just here for your head pats, as it were?
Either one. I always have time for you, as long as I am here.
Very well, and
It has been a good bit of fun.
I'm glad you've enjoyed it. You've been more vocal about your, participation than what I'd expect of these other lowly beasts. You are more entertaining. I'll take that for matter. And you...
I try to be.
I apologize. The name slips my mind. It was... She motions up towards you, Samantha. Samantha, that's right. Such a common name. Unbefitting of someone such as yourself. Ah, welcome back. I wanted to say my thanks for you, for both of you. You've done quite well in not only, well, gathering our supplies from the surface down below, but simply being a good influence on those who've slacked in their efforts, as his eyes will immediately cut over to some of the individuals standing at his side, who the moment he does, you see them sort of straighten themselves up. It seems without the proper guidance of a, well-mannered matron, some of my men have found themselves, losing their manners and proper work etiquette.
I cannot say I've been compared to a drow matron before, but the comparison is more apt than you know.
I say, I do hope I may keep you around here for quite some time. You would be a great asset to the Undercity here. There's always work to be done, and, well, I suppose great changes are going to be brought about in this coming days, wouldn't you say? I'm sure you're aware of the wedding going to occur. The great, what do they call it? The harmonious union. Wonderful.
Rather well informed on such matters, yes. What's the right word? Persistence in this city is not something that is going to be a very long-term effort, but we can make ourselves available while we are here.
Oh, such is a shame. Very well. A participation in short degrees is acceptable more than none. Nevertheless, I do wonder, what might you find yourself on this wedding day? Will you be up enjoying the celebrations?
I would not waste it for the world.
I hope you
see.
aren't planning on bringing more of those elephants this time.
A bit hard to travel them so far this far west. I wonder if I could.
Oh, I cannot imagine what the forest would do to them. No, we'll find ourselves where we are most fitting. Most likely on the surface, yes. Quite a bit of talking that needs doing amongst the nobility for the valiant vanguard.
I see. Keeping a strong face. Understandably,
Always.
understandably. Although I will extend an invitation, this harmonious union, it is such a wondrous idea. Rife with all sorts of possibilities. Those that might go right or wrong. There's tale spoken long ago, but not by my people, those who would birth us, of such a thing going quite catastrophically. If such were to occur, you would always find shelter down here. A safe place beneath the surface, away from all the danger.
It's good to know.
Not find yourself celebrating as well? Is this not a gain of power for the Undercity if Inland is in a better position?
I think you might find with our, more guarded efforts, as your pet has seen, our actions, although neighbor to the presiding leadership of Inalin, is still just that, neighbor, separate but hidden. What occurs on the surface is a direct benefit for us, but we have our own livelihoods to maintain. And alas, I cannot think that such a grand opportunity is without a chance for catastrophic failure. Although if such were to occur, you would always know. What we can clean up from the mess would be quite profitable, quite wondrous. But no, their profit does very little for us in actuality.
Well, I would be wary nonetheless. If your neighbor's house burns down, the value of the entire neighborhood goes down with it. But I'm sure you will navigate the results of such a harmonious union with the cunning and expertise you have thus far.
It's all about the connections one has. Although we are kin, I do not like to associate myself with those on the surface, so simple-minded, not enjoying of the simple revelries of hard work, labor, the pains that come with it. Oh, the true pains that come with it. But we do have a strong connection on the surface. If such thing were to occur, we would know, without having to risk poking our heads out into what might be a catastrophic storm. But as newfound allies, I would love to ensure you guys find a safe sanctuary beneath this surface. The magic here is quite protective indeed as well. If for such something terrible were to occur, we'd find ourselves quite safe, and with still a steady supply of arcana to draw from. As you see like a glowing drop of this liquid fall from the ceiling and puddle into this great pond.
I was actually curious about that, bossman. You spoke about having connections, and I thought maybe you knew something of the Queen to be. I was interested to see if maybe you could help me get into her good side. You speak of things going poorly up above, but well, from what I hear, I doubt the bride to be is the one that will be harmed. You not know her, or know something of her.
I've heard of her kind. Call her Archfey, call her, well, I suppose, truly, Lady of the Summer. Not really my forte. Too much sun, too much heat. Prefer the damp and the cool. I've also heard that she is quite powerful. It's not truly her harm I fear as much as what harm she may cause. Those of great power, if used unwisely, well, it is
Understood.
truly catastrophe. But such things can reap great rewards, regardless if, well, as long as you're not the one being harmed. Although I must say, it would truly be a sight to behold a matron such as herself. Powerful women are truly the focus of worship in this world. Beauty and strength combined. As he sort of trails off, staring off, almost like to the darkness, a distance at which only probably one of you can actually see.
I still love you so much.
Oh,
Maybe sort of
bossman,
whispers to herself.
I don't want to pry too much, but the things that you have had me moving, the emotion in all of this, it seems rather busy. With everything going up above, I have to admit, I'm sure I'm a bit in awe. I am fascinated on what you must have moving. Is there something going on here? I know you're taking advantage of all of this. You have something cooking. I'd love to be a part of it.
Give me a persuasion roll.
Nah.
Or deception if you're just twisting his arm trying to slip inside his good graces.
Yeah, I'm sort of trying to I'm trying to sort of post him up, so see if he wants to brag about what he might be getting up to. I'm trying to deceive. Still not great at it yet, but oh well.
I believe in you.
Hey!
Let's
Have
see.
faith.
Have faith.
As you see, like, he sort of just smiles down at you, Tamarkan, as you're sort of worming your words his way, talking him up. You see that same cunning grin. Oh, very well. You've worked so very hard, little pet. I suppose you've earned at least a peek of what we've been working on. Come. Sinoda. As you hear this big lumbering massive creature comes walking forward with, it looks like this very twisted, like almost naturally made barrel of wood and stone in his hand, as he'll take it forward next to Ranulphane, who, as he approaches, you immediately see him like hold out his hand and like push against this large carapace, and with this loud like chitinous slap as he points towards the pond behind him, as this thing sort of just shudders and walks towards the water. As he'll put this thing down, you'll see Ranulphane join him at his side. Immediately another slap to the side of his hard body just causes him to step back a few feet. As Ranulphane will reach out, take one of the contents of this thing that sort of rattled, almost like glass inside, and pulls out this small, almost looks like a shard of diamond. The Zendalure. great magic potential stone formed in the mountains, pulled from the rock itself and refined with magic. Suppose some of you from the farther nations, someone of scaled skin would know them as diamonds. But here, we'd call them the ancient name our people, have granted them. Great magical potential within them, but as it sets and waits, it dwindles, it fades in time. However, as you'll see him take that crystal and just sort of gently dip it into this glowing iridescent water, you can see the light sort of culminates across it, and he pulls it out. That same glowing iridescence clings to the stone. Well, there's a touch of concentrated magic, residual, I suppose, arcana, from the Zindalorada. This simple stone can be forcibly charged. The power this great plant once held on the surface can be transferred and changed, slowly over time, but as you can see, no longer just a diamond, but something so much more, something that can become so much more. We're charging them and sending them down the great tunnels you see. This Undercity is one of but many that spread across this nation, though the trek between them is quite treacherous if you do not know the path. Enough time, these resources can be shifted. Other Undercities will receive them. Great power once belonged to the surface can be shared with those beneath. And the things one can do with these is... ooh, truly, in time, unimaginable. As you'll flick it in your direction, Samantha. This tiny little shard of glowing crystal. A show of my reverence and respect for both of your work. As you would hold in your hand essentially what you'd guess to be maybe like a 300 GP diamond, but it's literally loaded and suffused and visibly charged with just a condensed amount of arcane magic.
Very interesting. My heartfelt thanks. May we return this show of good faith with one of our own, should it be required. We are available. I will have to make sure we can stay in contact, even if we leave.
It'd be quite wonderful. Just keep yourselves safe. The surface is always dangerous. As you'll
Tuck
see
away
behind
that
him,
300 GP diamond.
the water you can see behind begins to stir again. As he starts to say something else, he sort of stops and turns back. And you can see it again, sort of like this, almost like a small pillar begins to sort of rise and fall. Ah, I see. I must attend to more business. You may dismiss yourselves. Apologies. You are dismissed. I'd hope to see you again before the wedding, though. Might be some more work for you, and, well, perhaps with some time, little friend, you may earn some true payment of your own. As he sort of like lowers himself down and looks to you with sort of a cutting grin, Temarkhan.
Of course, boss man. I look forward to it. You're very clever. I like it.
That's what I mean more of. Is be some quite appreciative of my teachings. As he'll go back, seeming to step onto these stones, as some of these, again, armored men begin to sort of like just step forward and just in hushed tones. You heard him. Get moving.
Yes,
Not quite as friendly or approachable.
I'm going.
Sort of take the diamond back out and just sort of look at it as I walk, using my my snakes to sort of know where it is I'm going, and just watching with my own eyes as I look at the magic sort of dance inside of it. Might just be perfect for what I require.
Maybe it is not harming what Persephone said, but might be. It seems to be taking the power one way or the other. Maybe with every stone taken from this place, it is not returned to the tree.
It seems like a limited resource being pulled on from two different directions. Her father and, well, our wonderful boss man, as you so eloquently put it, stretches thin, this magic. I would not want to be around if it broke.
Yep.
As you guys would make your way back towards sort of the center and then eventually finding the great roots that raise you back to the surface, so too do we find ourselves rising up from the underbelly of the city of Inalin and eventually back towards more of the common ground, truly still in the Diamondstone district. We find our perspective changing. We go from the underground to sort of the common folk, but truly with the soldiers of the city of Inalin. The barracks have been something of a commotion the last week. Someone has, since his departure from his containment, as it's been described, Lucerne, the Wildfire Prince, has sort of made his home now here in the barracks, having finally found some individuals of which he could challenge himself. He's been practicing seemingly on the soldiers within, and one of your members, sort of not quite contained or confined by any other duties or need bees, has been sort of called by, it seemed like Persephone's ally, an old friend, simply to possibly take care of this problem before it burns into another great wildfire like the Zendalarada. As within the barracks of the Diamondstone district, Quildor has been called to sort of quell a now building issue, as Lucerne has been not truly fighting anyone, but has since been issuing endless challenges. It seems the man literally does not sleep. And although many of the elves are quite capable of maintaining their strength over, quite a long period of time, he has been sort of pestering and truly hindering the guards and some of the now resting soldiers of Inalin with endless challenges and feats, as we would join him entering the barracks from, I guess, was at the eastern side, as you would see along these lines of tables filled with food in the midday as lunch is being served. Lots of guards are sort of like leaning on with their heads resting in their hands, others a bit more energy to them, watching the center of this great collection of cedary as a small flame continues to spark in between them, as a pair of hands are clasped quite roughly, as it seems as if Lucerne has been, I guess, on a spree of victorious arm wrestling contest, now pulling one of these elven soldiers harshly down onto the table, his hand barely maintained above it, and above his head, just this continuous, like, swirling and bashing of flame as he's just sitting there laughing and smiling. Come now, I'm only using some of my strength. This is only the third time. Come on now, show something. You're nothing like them. You're nothing like them! Boom! The table booms with the sound of a fist clattering against it. Ah! Again! One more time! Use your other arm! Use the other one! As the elven soldier just sits up. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I cannot feel this arm. This one's about ready to be dislocated. I cannot fight. I need this arm to eat. Your lordship, please. Another soldier. Come now, I've fought all of you. I've tried all of you. We've raced. We've fought. We've wrestled. Nothing's truly... As the door opens and he turns toward you, Quildor. And there he is. My friend, you've returned! Oh, please tell me you've come with a challenge in mind.
Challenge is what you want, huh?
Oh, please. I've tested your strength before. None of these men compare to you. As you're entering, these soldiers sort of still rubbing their arms, some of them sloping and trying to eat meals with these wary, shaking hands, all sort of stop in their tracks, and sort of some of the quiet revelry of the barracks goes quiet as there is a moment of recognition. As Lucerne kind of looks around. Oh, what's this now? You all speak so freely when men of strength come through here, but when the night comes through, you all fall silent. Is this strength that great compared to yours? I'm starting to think so. As some of the men... No, that's Quildor, the Knight of Zamaria. He was an enemy of this nation. As immediately some of the men just start to get up and quietly move from their tables, just giving a wide berth to the large truly one of the largest elves you would ever see walking through this nation. As Lacerna sort of left by himself, "Oh, seems you have more reputation than I have thought, elf. Well done, another mark for your great title. Scarer of your own kin."
Well, not everyone can be as charming as you.
Oh, flattery will get you everywhere with me, Gwildor. What would get me greater is a test of strength, as he'll put his arm back on the table. Let's see that strength once more, shall we?
Why not?
As
Put my arm down.
he will attempt to arm wrestle you, it will be a contest, Quildor. A connection of strength or otherwise athletics checks. Basically, best out of 3. Whoever wins the best out of 3 rolls in a contest would be considered the victor, their arm being pushed down to strike the table. I'm gonna need an athletics check, my friend. Ooh. As when your hands clasp, you feel heat, even slightly radiating through the tough, dense metal of your gauntlet, as he starts to press back, and immediately, at a count of 3, the arms begin to fight, and you feel a considerable amount of strength fighting your own. Not quite your pure level of power, but a considerable amount for someone as lithe and simple as himself. As, the first pull, immediately strength begins to fight. You can see fire crackling along his horns, and he grins wickedly. There it is. You see that, men? That's real power. As his hand starts to go closer and closer down towards the table, he starts gritting his teeth. But I'm not done yet. True strength comes from when one is pushed to the edge. Come now! I also need one more athletics check to see if you can test him. How do you dominate in this fight? How do you dominate with this arm wrestling contest, Quildor?
Snap his arm in half.
I just grab his arm
Twist his dick off.
and I let him think that he's gaining. As I just kind of look over at the guards. As I slam it down, as you just hear and feel the wood underneath his hand just splinter, and there's just a dent in this table.
The entire wood, formed strangely from naturally shaped and magically formed wood from the forest, really reinforced until your fist and his fist connect, and immediately the wood splinters and cracks, and even a spark of flame seems to come up as if flint has struck stone, or steel rather. And as you do so, a big spire of smoke rises up from the table. Plates and cutlery clatter and fall off the edge. As immediately Lacerna is not only just pulled to the edge, his form actually turns as his shoulders toss to the side. And there we have it. As he'll sort of wrestle his hand free of yours, you can see it sort of twisted and gnarled for a moment before he clasps it, and you hear it crackle, almost as if he has to realign some of the cartilage and bone through some of the damage you've seemingly done. But afterwards, it seems to be returned back to shape. That, you measly, scrawny armed soldiers, is real strength. This is the strength you people need. More Quildors. More, what did you call yourself? Shields of Zamarias. As around, you can hear some of the men just sort of mumble to themselves, and some of them sort of tend to their wounded arms and food. Quietly, Shields of Moria. As from the southern end of the room, you can hear this sort of soft, quiet voice just cut, as if a soft dirk had been cut through and thrown through this sort of mumbling, atmosphere. That's a dagger.
Look who used Dirk.
What?
What?
I knew exactly what he was talking about.
We all know Dirk is a dagger. Who
Leave
uses
his
Dirk?
goddess dagger alone.
Get out of here.
Getting real in his flavor. Dirk.
Shield of Samaria. Is that what you're calling yourself still? As across the room, you would see a woman wearing dark, basically black and steel armor, similar to your own, although it seems to sheen with some other slight hue or iridescence to it. You see a woman with stark, dark hair, a full elf, just like yourself, but possibly from the other end of your own kind, another moon elf of sorts. Her hair is as dark as night, skin quite pale, almost similar to an ally of yours, although when she looks at you, you can see these piercing blue eyes stare back, and there is a look of familiarity, a sort of stricken familiarity. A pair of eyes you've seen once before on a great battlefield. As this woman will sort of stand up, you can see some of the men look towards her. Lady Haldora, you what are you trying to say? As she'll step forward, you can see sort of reaching up to her back and adjusting what seems to be a weapon strapped to her form. Strange for an elf to carry on her. Many of them carry these long, slender blades, knives, and swords and the like, but hers is a long, almost like that of, it almost looks like a sword in its own regard, but of elven design. It's a long strap of steel and wood, of which its head seems to bend downward and curve back along the handle, its form that being of an elven axe. An axe you've seen in action. An axe that really changed the course of your life. The Knight of Zamoria is a very prestigious title. A group of elves, quite renowned in their heritage, trained from young age from those who held the title previously. Brought into a great pedigree, become those of their strongest kin. They are by far the most renowned warriors we'd ever seen in the olden days of Illyria. The strongest you might ever find in this world. But a title that belongs to one who holds a charge. As she'll step forward, looking over at Lysarin, who's just kind of enraptured by this woman who's just been apparently silent this whole time. Where is your charge, Quildor of Zamaria? Where is the one you are meant to protect? Where is the reason for your knighthood?
So I'll just stand up as the bench just slides back pretty quickly and with some ferocity. I am not in charge of that whelp anymore. The people that I'm here to protect are the people that need protection.
Is that how you've lived with it, Quildor? Is that how you lived with the banishment? You wear that armor quite well. It's different from the one I saw in that field. Different from the one stained in blood from all of my men who you killed. Quite sturdy. Quite sturdy.
Well, not everyone can chop off the hand of a young child who thinks he's a leader.
Quite easy, actually. Quite easy when a foolish young lord comes strolling through a battlefield, unprotected by his knight. As Lysander just kind of looking back and forth. We have a couple of knights here. Why, and you fought Quildor.
Shut up, Lizard.
Well, that's not a way to speak to a lord. He, as he sort of steps forward, is no longer a knight. Sort of a tradition of the Knights of Zamoria. They take their oaths quite seriously. His was an oath of protection. A charge to guard with his life to make sure no harm would be bestowed upon him. A charge, I can't say truly. Was it simply his foolishness, or was it simply a lack of attention that caused him to take that nearly lethal wound, lose that arm by this axe, and cut down one of the strongest men, without even touching him?
Quickly run right up to her, just inches from her face. You may have took his arm, but I protected that idiot's life. And for his arm, I took my banishment. And 20 of your best men.
Truly. Compared to a Knight of Zamoria, though, I can't complain. A suitable loss. In the long run, and truly, from my efforts, as she'll sort of put her hand across her armor, for cutting down a lord and removing one of the most powerful men from the field. Knighthood of my own. I must thank you, Quildor. Whatever reason it caused that lapse in judgment, perhaps perception, perhaps simply your eyes were stained with the blood of your enemies. I have much to gain from your falling. It is good to see you, though. Are you here for the wedding?
We will see.
Very well. I do hope to see you there. I would like to see which honors they would title you with. Would they still call you the Shield of Zamaria? It would be a shame if they did. You no longer truly hold that title. You're no longer a knight, after all. Although I imagine you'd still hide behind it as well. I've never truly seen a Zamarian knight who's lost his title and remained, I suppose, calling himself such. At least that's what I've been hearing. Is that where your honor's gone?
I am not like the young child. You cannot bait me into an argument or a fight, Eldora. My honor is where it needs to be. I've saved countless cities, slain a tyrant dragon that would have destroyed mankind. All while you are sitting back and getting fat.
As roll me an intimidation check.
Yeah, I'm not good at that.
You see her sort of size you up and down, or like sort of smirk, sort of softening on her face. I've done more than simply sit on my laurels since earning them, I can assure you that much. Though your accomplishments are great. I've heard quite riveting tales of what you've done without your charge slowing you down, it seems. I do wonder if that's enough, though. I've heard Zamarian knights earn their banishment and have a chance to redeem themselves, but have they called you yet? Have they heard of your great accomplishments and rallied you home? I suppose not, you're still here. Very well. I suppose maybe in time they will. Perhaps if you name yourself, I don't know, a noble within the wedding, or find another noble to knight you, you'd simply have something similar to what you owned. But for now.
Of course. After all, I was the one protecting your lady. Although, she doesn't really need the protection. Obviously, she learned how to be a warrior from, as it looks around the room, anybody but those that are within these walls. She has more honor than all of you combined.
Possibly. I did not become a knight through training like you, I simply earned it through title. I earned it by being smart and clever, and by taking every opportunity when it presents itself. But I find myself possibly climbing higher than the rest of you. I believe that perhaps in time, well, the rest of this rabble-rousing will fall to the side. We can see what will rise in the end. Perhaps with your great accomplishments, you'll regain your honor. You'll regain something. Maybe your own honor. Perhaps you it's something worth congratulating. Something you've earned in your own rights, Quildor. You can pat yourself on your pauldron shoulder and say you've done it. You've regained what you've lost. Perhaps in time, your own city will recognize it as well. For myself, well, I just sort of like reach up and sort of cast aside some of the feathers on her pauldron. I have much higher to rise. I do hope to see you at the celebration. I have, well, slight business to attend to while in the city, and I will not stay for long. But in time, I'd like to see you, well, perhaps use that blade of yours. Perhaps it's gotten quicker. Perhaps you can move a bit faster. I know I certainly can. As she'll sort of turn on heel and just go back to, looks like grab a drink from the edge of this bar, take a big old, like, beautiful, like, twisted-looking, tankard. Ugh. Take a swig of it quite heartily, and then pat one of the soldiers on the shoulder, say something quiet to him, and make her way out the other exit, as Lysair just kind of turns around. Now that... Ooh! Felt the fire in the air there! Was that an old scorn love of yours? I wasn't really paying attention.
A scorn for sure.
As the men sort of look up at Lysair. That was Lady Heldora. She's a knight from Ronin, now one of the true swords of the Eternal Oath. She was named a hero after as he sort of looks between you, Coolor, and him. Striking down Lord Sandir Donsong. I don't know what that means. What is that?
She cut off the arm of a child no more than 25 years of age, and they call her a hero.
The son of one of the three kings.
An excuse of a son.
It sounds like you didn't very much like him. Might have made you quite happy to see his arm get cut off. Got you under that burden. That's a ball and chain right there.
No, Lysera, not all nobles should be noble, much like yourself.
I take offense to that. I challenge you to a fight outside.
Wonderful. Seems like you need to burn off some of that energy.
Ooh, you know how to light my fire, Quildor. Excellent. Guards, clear a space. There's going to be lots of fire. As the remainder of that afternoon would be spent in quite a second heated confrontation, as Lysera would be sparring, throwing out some flames, still not quite taking things seriously. It seems like he's just sort of enjoying the fight, taking blows quite heartily, but still getting back up, ready to fight again. He's, again, just a endlessly burning, basically, keg. As
Very much burnt to death, though.
very much burnt to death. As, again, the perspective would shift, we'd move ourselves from the common grounds of Inalin up towards the high-reaching towers of the Emerald Chateau, of which we find a certain member of our group has finally found some time amidst a busy and winding schedule to have some private moments with an individual she has not truly shared, I guess, a direct talk in quite some time. As in the Lord's Chamber, you would find yourself walking in through the familiar large doors that are guarded by at least looks like a pair of well-trained individuals, heading up inside this large open room that one of you has recently been in just last week or so, adorned with beautiful, basically portraits of old family, those that seem to be quite long and extended due to the elven lineage, excuse me, as well as like some soft plush furniture that what is only truly used by one these days, and the soft crackle of it sounds to be an arcane created fire in a place at its center, as you would find yourself entering the Lord's Chamber, with your father, High Lord Kaelon, sort of musing over at least like a small like scroll of glowing parchment on inside, with a set of looks like to be some elven tea set up ready to brew.
I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
His eyes just seem sort of locked on his scroll. I am finishing up now, Velora. Take a seat. As he'll just sort of motion to one of the seats next to him.
Right.
And Persephone just kind of shifts, awkwardly twisting her bracelet before taking a seat at the round table here.
As he'll like sort of, after maybe like a minute or so, even less than that, he sort of rolls up the scroll. You can see the lights that determine the parchment, the words on it, seems to fade away until it just becomes empty parchment. And then as he walks over, you can see him sort of just wave his hand. A small swirl of ethereal energy lifts, it sort of appears beneath this tray and lifts it up and carries with him. It looks like a small set of, looks like just simple elven tea set. This very refined, not metal, but like almost gold looking sort of like stone that keeps its insides either completely hot or cold, retaining all that heat. As he pulls it forward, guided behind him by this strange spectral hand before it gently lays it out on the table between you two. As he'll sit himself and begin to pour himself and then you a cup of tea, some of simple they called it what was it, mint leaf tea, something you found quite some time ago in Moss Den, common delicacy that you've grown up on in this household. Supposedly calms the mind. As Kaelon would seat himself, gather himself a drink, sort of resolute himself, and then after finally lifting his eyes from whatever he's holding, he looks up to you, Persephone. I hope you're doing well, Velora. This has been quite content knowing you've been within the city this last week. How have you been doing?
It's been okay. You know, it's a lot of stuff I have to get used to now. with the wedding and everything. We've talked before, but it was really more like formal. I'm not here for that. And honestly, I'm going to be quite frank. I don't know if I really believe that you are relieved that I'm back. It felt like you wanted nothing more than to get rid of me.
I apologize for my tone. Your mother was accurate that I was quite abrasive in our reunion. I can attest I am truly happy that you're here. It was quite some troubling time and frustration trying to understand truly why you left in the manner you did, and if you would return, if you were safe. The relief that came from that, I suppose, took an ill form. I wish you not to misinterpret my reaction.
So you do understand why I left.
I'm supposed to gallivant in the world to see sights that you have been taught of and lectured on. You've seen and been described by our greatest scholars of what resides out there,
Is
but
that what you told yourself?
it is what I have been able to discern.
You know, I was there that night when you were talking to Rael about sending me off to Madame Videri's academy for misguided ladies. I heard that whole conversation. Like a literal fly on the wall. Well, not a fly, I couldn't fly then, but you know. Maybe you don't.
It was not a conversation of which you were meant to hear at the time. It was a molding, but regardless, it was to ensure that you would not act in any way rash. You must understand, Velora.
Persephone.
You must understand. There have been others, your aunt, for example, who had such similar ideas. Ideas of wandering to and fro, doing as one wishes, simply without understanding truly the weight of responsibility placed upon us by our families. And such things have led to great catastrophes. And see him sort of like now at this point sort of fiddling with his drink.
You think I was going to be like Aunt Volante? Do I really come off as that selfish to you?
I believe you have a great desire to see and do things as you wish. I believe you made decisions to leave the city to indulge in these desires without truly comprehending what has been as patiently explained and taught to you. This is difficult. As I see him just sort of like move his drink back on the table. I thought it would be easier. This is... I don't know what to say to you to make you understand.
I think part of that is because you don't really know who we are. And you keep trying to piece a puzzle together when you don't actually have all the pieces, so you've made your own. I know you call it gallivanting and you make it sound like it's just a phase or whatever, and Do you even know what I enjoyed when I was still around? Do you know what it is that I was doing when I was leaving the walls, when I snuck away from my lessons?
How often did you sneak away from your lessons? Right. I suppose that you possibly... Someone may have been covering for you. Of course it was. I simply... I don't know. I wish to give you what I can consider to be the best life, and you must understand what you might think is good, what you might think is right. It lacks the experience and the wisdom that comes from a long-lived life that has seen and experienced many things.
And I think it is because of your long-lived life that has seen so much and has experienced a lot. You refuse to acknowledge that maybe things can be different. And maybe we're not going to be exactly how you foresee it. Wasn't that the point of propping us up as the heirs? I mean, we're not fools, Father. Rail and I both know that if you wanted, you could have a whole second family that in the council's eyes would be better at carrying on the Thea line. We both knew that.
My decisions are mine to live with, as are the consequences. Regardless if they were the best or worst, I do not regret them. Alas, if such decisions could lead to catastrophe, things that you in your short-lived life cannot see, it is my duty as your father to ensure that you are guided on the right path.
Perhaps you should consider that we are capable of making our own path.
I'm very much understanding of that.
Isn't that how wisdom is acquired? It's not just what we learn in books or what we are told. It's through the experience we gain ourselves, through our own life lessons. And that's what I've been doing out there, Father. I didn't leave with the distinct mindset that I was going to be adventuring. I just knew that I wasn't growing here.
There are many life lessons from men and women I've known all my life that were learned truly in the last moments of said life. Many of them are learned through experience, through first-hand attempts, and many of them are those that one would wish to learn from a source, from a guardian, from anyone else, rather than their first-hand, when it means a blade in their chest, when it means... Look, I apologize. This is going back to where he started. I do not call you here to argue. I'm here to ensure that you are doing well, that you are of certain mind, and to ensure that, as your father, I feel it is allowable that your concerns with the pressing matter at hand are addressed. You spoke of the deal, the bargain the Eternal Oath had made with the Summer Queen, and I told you it was to be contained within the Eternal Oath for the sake of its protection. It seems to have caused you quite concern, especially on behalf of your mother. She seems to have noted that you... Well, it is frequently on your mind. So I hope that if I were to extend an understanding of that bargain to you in detail, it would help bring ease to your mind. Was that accurate?
Yeah, that would help a lot.
Very well, we are getting somewhere. So where I've gotten, what I understood, Lord Galleon has verbatim spoken to me. The deal between Illyri, I suppose, truly Inelin and the nobility and the Summer Queen, is that if the Eternal Oath were to provide the Summer Queen with a mortal that she wishes to betroth, then the Summer Queen would grant the blessing of the Sealy Court upon Inalin and its presiding territory. Does that seem amicable?
What is this blessing?
It is the purpose of the Union. Well, at least one of the purposes. It is the magic of which this Archfey can bestow upon both truly personally to an individual, an area. There are magics that are quite similar to it that have been studied for quite some time, but beings of her power have the ability to manifest and make and empower things. They can simply grant magic or might or fortune to those they deem worthy. It is something often spoke of a myth and legend, and truly one that comes from great sacrifice and cost. In this case here, this fortuitous moment, we find ourselves capable of achieving such power, such a blessing, from something as simple as wedding. It's something we can use, something that can repair what's been damaged. Your aunt did a great deal on our family. Her actions, but her decisions, her selfishness, hurt not only our nation, but our reputation, our own standing, some of our own trust in one another. If we were to bring such a blessing to this nation, to our city, perhaps the damage there can be repaired. With your brother Rael as the herald of it all, the man who brought this great blessing to your land and your people. And this magic that can be brought in can be used to help rejuvenate what we have done to our great crystal tree. It has put a notable strain on the Zendalrada. In time...
Yeah, I know. Zendi told me.
I'm sorry, what?
I talked to the tree now. I can do that now.
Right. The Zendalrada has spoken to you that has been weakened, it is true. This would restore said, I suppose, damage we have unfortunately had to place upon it for the sake of the magic. It would be more than enough to simply rejuvenate, and possibly, if such a thing were great and powerful enough, the limitations of the Zendalrada can be overcome, and perhaps it may even flourish. It might even begin to produce more seeds. The last of the crystal trees may be the first to bud new, those that we can gift to those other nations and grant them their own magical power, own other cities within Illyria. It is a blessing that cannot be passed away so simply. And of course, with this union, if Queen Titania betroths your brother, she can bless him with her own magic. The fey blood that resides within him grows stronger. He no longer has to worry about the simple limitations of, well, the restrictions of a short-lived life. He may live to be a full elf, 4,000 years at the side of a great queen.
Right. But so... The union is just the terms of agreement. It's the exchange. Union in exchange for the blessing?
Indeed. It is the bargain. That's what they've been calling it. Quite a simple term for something of such great magnitude, but Galleon insists it is something that must be taken.
Were you planning this for Rael's whole life? It sounds like the council was working towards this for a long time.
Well, it was something that the Eternal Oath had been circulating for quite some time. A history of such things. When power was needed, they sought from great powerful beings. Especially during the War of the Ancients. I hope you remember your history lessons.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what can come of an elf's desperation during that era.
Alas, it simply for lack of better terms, fell into our laps. Galleon was actually the first to approach us with this opportunity. It seemed through communion they had managed to speak with this Archfey, and through his own action, a key that was once thought damaged beyond repair and quite some time ago in that Great War was repaired. A key that could be used to initiate and open the gate, of which, well, I still cannot show you the gate. For the sake of its own protection, I cannot allow prying eyes to see it. But a key that can be used to activate and open. A key that, through Galleon's own action, it seemed, through his own traversing as I suppose a long-winded and long-traveled individual, has found a means to repair it. And through its repair, what was once thought impossible can be made so.
But this was Galleon's proposal. Uncle Galleon.
Yes.
And he suggested it was his suggestion for Rael to be betrothed.
It simply was what he wished. A mortal that would betroth wanted a noble. And it seemed through communion, his aid to allow their voices to connect. Seems as if this Archfey, this Summer Queen, has taken a liking to your brother.
Have you spoken to her? I know Rael has, but have you?
Indirectly. Galleon has been more or less the communer between the two.
But I would have thought if you were powering the gate, you've not gone through yourself?
The Feywild is a dangerous territory, Baelora. It is a place of which one crosses through. One might be met, supposedly, by great sights, great wonders, great joy, or otherwise great and horrible terrors. I would not find myself fancying through to speak with her, unless it were absolutely necessary. Fortunately, Galleon is a more capable mage than myself. He has used magic to commune with her, using the gate as a catalyst. It's what has allowed your brother to commune with him. Commune with her, rather. Excuse me. Drinking tea.
Well, okay, well, maybe we can still get the blessing, and it doesn't have to be through a wedding. We just have to talk to her, right? And you said it's dangerous, and I understand that it's dangerous, but we're escorted by dragon slayers. The Valiant Vanguard could escort you through the Feywilds. We could go talk to Queen Titania. Maybe we can negotiate.
Absolutely not. More dangerous than the Feywild in this position is this bargain. This deal that has been struck. This deal that has been proposed. I would do no such thing until this deal, this union is complete. To try and converse, to try and dissuade anything that would cause this blessing to leave our hands. I believe you might have some might in you. I believe in your travels you may have picked up upon some power that may defend you, but I also understand that your words may dissuade the Fey Queen from even going through with the union, and the blessing would be lost. And all eyes would be turning upon this family once again. I would forbid entering the Feywild to speak with her. Whether I'm guarded by the world's greatest dragon slayers or the three kings themselves, I'm not going to risk what we can gain. What Rael can gain. What we can fix.
You like to talk about us like we're the ones being short-sighted, but it feels like that's not quite the case here.
I don't believe... Perhaps some time, but as of now, I don't believe we will ever see eye to eye. I believe it will take time perhaps a century or so, before you'll finally begin to see things as they really are. It'll
Right.
be a long, long time.
It doesn't need to be. You just need to have a conversation without expecting us to answer the way that you want us to. And you need to actually listen to what it is that we're saying. Rail and I... It's not like we wanted to be disruptive growing up. We just had our own ways of dealing with the expectations thrust upon us. Rail... He decided it was better to let you hear the things you wanted to hear, so that you would not be disappointed in him. And I guess I decided I'd rather live my truth than to have to lie and to have to... I'd rather be me. And I know everybody's kind of weirded out by the fact that I'm trying to go by a different name and everything, but...
And it's very important.
It's not like I'm trying to reject my lineage. It's not like I'm trying to disconnect from the family, but when I think of Valora, I think of somebody who hides behind a mask and parades around as a noble lady. I don't think of myself. When I left, I figured out who that really was. And it's not at all who it is that you'd been trying to make me. And I'm sure if you gave Rael a genuine chance to show him who he wants to be, maybe you'd come to like that too. And maybe it would stop creating this really weird rift where you think he wants this. And you think he wants this because he tells you he does, but do you really listen to how he says it?
I understand his predicament, and I understand the choices he is making and why he is making them, as does he understands why he must make them. As he'll sort of just like sit up from his chair, begin to get up. You mentioned masks. It's... Your aunt used to be quite kind when she was young. And she said the same exact things, almost the same exact as you did. She too rejected her name. She rejected much, until it completely changed. I simply wish to not see you fall down that same path. As do I wish your brother not to fall down the one I did. As you'll see him start stepping forward across the table. I have another matter to deal with. For now, you can enjoy your drink, spend your time doing as you wish. I will attempt another talk. Another time, though. Perhaps a week from now. I might have some time then. But in this moment, I'm glad we had this conversation. I will do my best to try and listen and sit upon the words you've given me.
Thank you, Father.
Miss Persephone quietly sips her tea.
As he'll walk out the door. And later in the day, when time has passed, the group has had their time to finish up some of their own little endeavors, whatever those may be, you would find yourselves rejoined. I don't know, where are you guys meeting up? Is it back at Persephone's room? Is it like at a tavern? Where would you guys want to meet up after your week off of do whatever you want?
Where is the nicest restaurant in town?
I don't know, Persephone was a nice restaurant in town.
Well, if you ask Persephone, she's going to direct you to a local restaurant in Moonlight Plaza on the eastern side of the city, a place that Persephone really likes to go to herself. But it's not like in the Noble District or anything, so it's probably not what Samantha had in mind, but it's clearly nostalgic for her.
It's better than like a
Dumpster,
fucking
isn't it?
street vendor with a stump out front.
No, it's a dumpster. Oh,
Thank
you're a
God-
dumpster
Hole in the
diver.
wall.
That's
These are my
cool.
friends. It's the trash pandas.
as you find this pretty, I mean, to elven standards, relatively simple, but to anyone else's moped, it's pretty elaborate and gorgeous. This like sort of not porcelain, I guess like white stoned walled buildings wrapped in what looks to be these soft dark roots that lead up to a grand like skylight that lets through the soft dim light as you enter. Almost seems like the entire place is dimly lit with twilight, almost as if when you enter, you're entering the very edge of night itself. Although there's still plenty of soft lights around to offer, I guess, anyone but those who have dark visions, eyes, simple lighting. It almost seems like you're in daylight. Thankfully, none of you have non-dark vision anymore. You can all see in the dark, so it looks like you're in bright light, basically. How about that? So yeah, you guys find yourself in a nice little restaurant. They offer a lot of the food itself. They offer some basic, most of it warm, but as the moonlight plows itself, a lot of it seems to be simple drinks, concoctions, lots of liquefied food and soups. Some of it actually served cold. Seems to be sort of the specialty here is cold served soups.
It's a pleasant enough place.
Rael and I used to come here with our friends a lot when we were young. Theron was like the oldest of all of us, and he had the coin. I mean, he helped his mother out with the crystal stall, so of course he had coin in exchange. So he would treat us to lunch sometimes.
Well, now that we're all here, it has been about a week. Ah, Brad, there you are. Excellent.
I read so many books.
Brand,
I heard
how's it
so many
going
books.
with your friends, huh?
Oh my god.
No, I wasn't. You said that was a joke. No.
Alright, I'll give you more time. I understand it takes a bit to work your magic. I understand, it's fine. Alright. Hey, if you need some makeup or anything, give me a call. I'll help you.
I'm grown wise to your capricious ways. I learned that word from a bunch of books.
I was about to ask, where on earth did you learn that word?
Yes, comfortable.
What does capricious mean?
Whimsical. Chaotic.
Thank you.
Unpredictable.
Bullshit.
It means a few of those
true.
things, yeah.
So, what have we learned in the last few days? I know we've all split up and done more or less our own thing. I believe I saw a few of us traveling together through the city. Anything in particular? Snake out your tongue?
I read a bunch of books, that's all I did.
That's pretty much what we've been doing. Just learning whatever we could about the Feywild. I don't know if there's much else we can get there.
Any histories or records on this Summer Queen? Anything stand out in that direction? A past lover or something? A tragedy in her past?
Did I find anything about Titania? Because I feel like I wouldn't.
Roll me either on Arcana, be on Arcana check in this, with advantage. As you are you spend a whole week searching through basically tomes besides your own research.
Yeah, come on, Bran. Fucking roll it, Bran. Bran!
As with that, you caught something. You're able to read out, and I think, right?
Yes.
Sweet. So in one of the sort of older tomes itself, you don't find a name as much as a title. You do read in some passages through somewhat on the edge of where you were researching for personal use as well as for this endeavor. Something more of the slight elven occult, less dark and malicious, and more just those who reach out beyond the planes to draw upon favor. You would have heard mention at least twice, not by name of Titania, but something of a summer matron. It seems as if it's a title that's gone on for a while, but nothing of that name in particular.
So I didn't find anything by the name Titania, but I did find a few things about the Summer Matron. I don't know if it's the same one, or if this is a new Summer Matron. I don't really know how Fey titles work. Smartcon, do you know how Fey titles work?
He's eating soup right now.
Oh, I remember when I was in Cradle Keep, I ran into a similar issue where Titania wasn't the name of a person. It was kind of in reference to the calm that the summer matron brought upon the forests of Illyria after like a bunch of storms.
Tamarkan, do the other Fey Lords, if you have any memory of this or any teachings, do they... what's the right word? Sort of reincarnate like you do? This sort of process, this selection thing. Is that a common trait, or is that just your monkey business?
Say that again. I missed half of that.
In your experience, or perhaps teachings, or memories, do the other Archfey or Fey Lords in the Feywild, do they reincarnate like you do? The same sort of selection process or something similar where, you know, summer comes to an end and then a new form of summer comes into being? Or is that just you and your monkey business?
I've heard stories of some of them in somewhat perpetual states of death and rebirth and things, but the way my father does it is one of the sticking points with his relationship with the other Fey Lords. They don't take kindly of others infringing on their rights of immortality. For one, not one of them to take station like them. I don't particularly enjoy that idea. But I don't know if all of them work the same way as dying and reborn. I've heard of some just simply living forever. But again, my history lessons are
Spotty.
a bit lacking. Yes.
I figured as much, but I couldn't help but let go of the fact that they seem to all be connected to seasons, and seasons do come to an end. I don't know for certain the Feywild is not a place of my expertise in any regard, but they only referred to her as the Summer Matron, or referred to someone as the Summer Matron, Luna.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It might not even actually be the Summer Matron. This just feels really weird. Not to say that your brother is homely or anything, but you know there are definitely better pickings in the city. So why would an archfey be that interested just because he has a noble soul?
I don't have a lot of theories on that, but I did learn that the agreement wasn't really started by my father. So
Who started it?
okay, I'm gonna tell you guys, but I need to address this first because this has kind of also been on my mind. We've kind of been approaching this like it's a job, but I hope you guys know that I didn't hire the Valiant Vanguard to do a quest. You guys know
I'm not
that
being paid? Well, I am out. I am leaving. I can't believe I've been insulted in such a way.
Oh, yes, we're not being paid. We're doing this as a favor to you, are we not?
It pays in other ways.
That is also true. I've met some very nice people here.
Well, I mean, just the way that going about it, I didn't really spend this week in a library doing research or you know, doing a lot. I just kind of enjoyed being home because I
It's
haven't
fine.
been home. And it's just, this is important. I just don't want you guys to forget that I brought my friends because I'm dealing with kind of something that's a big deal for me. And it's felt really more like that you all have just kind of been standing on the sides waiting for me to tell you what to do, and that's what makes it feel like a job.
I mean, Persephone, if you just let me speak, I'm probably going to get us kicked out of the city. So the only reason I stand back is just I don't want to do anything to embarrass or hurt you in any way, shape, or form.
Are you asking us to not take the job? To step away completely? Leave you to your own affairs?
No, I just...
He wants us to be more involved, it sounds like.
That's what friends do, right?
Consequences be
You help them out?
damned, it seems. But, well, I can talk my way through a lot of situations and try not to speak ill of you, but I'm not really certain what to do either, Persephone, I must admit. The Feywild, like I said, is not a place of my expertise, and I can only try to remember what it is you want to gain out of this, and help you do that. That is friendship, isn't it? Or am I misunderstanding the concept?
Do you want to talk about something, Persephone? I mean, I can't like. I mean, I could read books, but I'm kind of burnt out on that. Just want. I could, if you want. This is kind of pretty rough stuff. I mean, if my mom was marrying like a big fairy or something, I don't know how I'd handle it. This gotta be kind of rough. I can be here to talk if you want to talk.
Persephone points directly at Bran. That's what's not happening. None of you have asked me how I felt since I got here.
Not.
Oi, Thad!
We were here for only a day, and Tamar Khan's already asking if we're going to leave in 2? Are you kidding?
Are you not going to leave?
We've been here a week, though.
I just thought you wanted space to sort out your affairs.
If I wanted space, I would have never left, because that's exactly what I get here. I exist when I'm here. I don't want to feel like I just exist with my friends. That's what friends are supposed to be, right? They're supposed to be closer than that. That's what I thought we were. And I don't know if it's maybe because I have a different understanding of what friends are supposed to be than everybody else at this table. And if that's that's really weird, considering I didn't really have friends growing up either. I had one group once when I was like 8. But I clung on to how that felt. I remember how much fun I had with them and how different it is when you have real friends.
I'm just gonna look over at Samantha and Swift Hollow and Luna. Just kind of look at each of them.
I made friends with her mother. And she just shrugs.
Persephone. I was raised by a vampire in a very secluded, dark town. I brought you guys along and you guys helped me. You had an issue. I put everything on hold to come here to make sure that I can help you. I'm sorry if I'm not, clinging on to you, asking you, reading your diary. That's not me. And I'm not going to force that for anybody. So if you don't think that I consider you a friend in any way, shape, or form, then I don't know what you want me to do, Persephone.
Okay, that's a fair point.
I only had servants. And my family's dead. But I can try to find some warmth to share if that is what you require, Persephone. Just didn't know that was the case.
I can give you a hug if that is what you want. I do love a good hug.
She'll take a hug, it seems. I'm sorry that you feel that we're not coming up to your expectations. But
I mean,
trust we're here because we do care about you.
I always thought that all of you just assumed that I am a sellsword. I don't think any of you consider me a friend.
You're my friend.
Well, that's true. You're the only one I really like, Tamakon.
I paid for your play tickets, Quildor.
Yes, you paid.
I'm sorry I didn't draw my sword. No, that sword with me.
You often have meetings out on your own about plans. I go, I build the guild hall, I help protect it. It's fine. I am but a sellsword. I understand.
Don't you try to guilt trip me, Mr. Knight. It was one meeting, one time.
Affectionate mercenaries. A little trust goes a long way, huh?
I wager there's a fair amount of trust, just not as much as some may like. But I thought we were getting closer as our adventures continued.
Yeah, that's really what I hoped for.
Simple solution. We all get a room, we all remove our clothing, and we see where the night. No? No? Alright, fine.
No.
That's one thing friends do.
Not everything can be solved with an orgy, Tamakon.
I beg to differ.
Some things can, but not all things.
Quildor, do you really feel like we treat you like just a simple sellsword?
I mean, you go and have your conversations and leave me out of it. You tell me to come here and not express who I am. It's fine.
You understand why that last part is different, right?
I mean,
Please tell me you understand why that last part is different.
You don't want me to be seen as a person from Tyrion.
No,
It's
you
fine.
completely...
It's just the perspective. The war is still fresh in everyone's minds, and people are uncomfortable about
Quildor,
it.
you've kind of acted like a... Quildor, I've been kind of worried about you. I'm not going to lie. Ever since we've... God, it was after Obsidious, after the championship, I don't know, you've just been kind of different lately. You're not who you were when we met. And especially coming here, you kind of come off as a jerk. I'm not telling you need to be ashamed of who you are. I'm the first person that speaks out for people who should be themselves. But I saw how you reacted when you made the guards uncomfortable by announcing you as the Shield of Zamaria. You seem to revel in that. You seem to take pride, and it's fine that Tyrion won. That's not the problem, but you're kind of being arrogant about it, and I didn't really expect that from you either. And the thing with at the guild hall, your refusal to leave your armor despite the fact that hostages' lives could have depended on it, that was very surprising to me.
My titles and my armor are all that I have left of who I once was. For you to tell me to cast that off would be the same of someone telling you not to wear flowers in your hair or have green hair or be joyous.
But Kuldor, it just sounds like you want to boast the title of being a knight without actually doing what it is to be a knight.
You mean saving people,
Yes.
like I did in the guild hall?
You were willing to risk their lives so you could wear armor, and your response to me, when I asked you why, was because a knight wears armor. It had nothing to do with saving the hostages. It had nothing to do with making sure they were going to be safe. It was entirely based on your presentation as a knight, and that's what... When I think of a knight, I don't think of just the image of somebody in armor wearing this title. I have a person in mind, somebody who cares, and it's their actions, not their presentation, and their motives. Those are the things that make a person. That is how I view if somebody is a knight or not.
So you're saying my motive is to save those people? To go out into the
This is what
wilderness
I'm
and
talking
fight off
about.
the
You're kind
Black
of being a
Fury?
jerk right now. You're not listening to me.
Are we still friends?
Am I wrong?
I
So
think
Marhan,
the
when you...
accusation is that you valued your own life and your own preservation over the possibility of hostages dying. Now that's something to be expected of someone like myself. I would never cast aside my armor. I'm not going to die for random civilians. But I think you not being willing to take that chance to put their lives on the line for your own skin falls short of what Persephone sees as the knightly ideal. But I, of course, consider it the smart move. If you died, you can't save anyone.
If that's just who you are, Coulter, that's fine. I can still be friends with you. You just need to be honest that that's who you are. That's all.
You can be a pragmatic knight. You're just not a Gregory knight. Gregory would have ran in there butt naked if it meant saving everyone. And, well, that'd be quite the fucking sight, I suppose. But...
Everything can be solved with energy, so let's see.
I wasn't trying to attack you. I am genuinely worried about you. And I just wasn't sure if this change, or what I thought was a change in who you are, if that is something that needs to be talked about, and if something was bothering you. Because, yeah, we don't really talk to each other about our feelings. But I think we should do that more. Because that's what friends are supposed to be here for.
You want us to talk about our feelings?
Yeah.
Without
I'm
using it as a
fucking
chance.
pissed off.
Really?
Ooh.
I've seen one of your Knights of Rohan here in town. That fucking bitch that chopped off Dawnstar's arm. The reason why I am where I am. Do you know how hard it was not to strike her down?
I don't think you were holding a grudge on that. But it makes sense. It cost you everything.
And that was part of why I was worried. Not about her specifically, but I'm not ignorant to the tension. I know you're a long-lived elf, as are many around here, so I was worried that you might run into some familiar faces.
Do you know why I didn't strike her down and kill every single person in that barracks?
Why?
What?
Because you asked me not to.
Not going to guess orgy.
So you would want to if we...
The
There's
war
no
is
doubt that
over.
if I would have raised my blade against her, the others would have joined. And I would have done what I do best. Kill.
Would have that made you happy? To slaughter a whole barrack of people from a time of war?
Happy, no. Content. Probably.
The war not over for you, Quildor. Be carrying it on your shoulders even now. It's been 50 years? No, it's
I
only a
haven't fought in the
fraction.
war more than 150 years ago.
You could have challenged her to a duel, to first blood or something. You don't have to kill her. Show her that you're better than her. It's a measured strike, rather than getting yourself executed by the guards after they have inevitably overwhelm you.
There are very few measured responses in the land of Tyrion. More than likely the reason why I found such success out here in the wilds.
Well, I am just shocked that you are all obviously strangely flawed individuals, as if you are people or something. I scoff at the idea. Ugh! How dare you not be perfect? I hate you all. No. But seriously, Persephone is obviously hurting, and to be mean as a monkey's arse, she's lashing out at everyone around her. So, Persephone, I'm not much in well, unless you want hugs. I do give good hugs. I do like to do things. If doing things means you want to grab some food and we can talk like little schoolgirls, and I understand that you are a woman. You're not. Not a girl. So, if there is something you want done, your friend Tamaka will certainly want to do it.
You have the food.
That is a very weird way to ask someone out to mark on.
Well, if that is what you wish. No! I'm simply saying that it is very hard for an individual to fix the traumas of another. The things that make them a person. I had to have a conversation and wash away all those things. But, like Quildor says, one can be content and putting something to bed, to rest, at last. I understand. A man can hold a grudge for a very long time, and when it is finally over, even if he loses, closure can be a powerful thing.
Did you just say all that?
Just kind of look over at Tamarkan, trying to figure out where the fuck did that wisdom come from.
I have you know, I inherited the wisdom of a very, very powerful man. It is also wise not to always need to show it.
Wow. I was not expecting. Wow. You see Brandon kind of looking up and down Tamarcon.
Wait, the one that got the
Ooh,
wisdom
Brad.
wasn't your
Keep
brother?
your eye on the prince, bro.
So wait, you got the wisdom, not your brother who we stole the crown from.
Oh no! He has lost himself many times to endeavoring for things that he cannot obtain and gotten himself into trouble. He has the knowledge. He learns much. He knows much, but often that knowledge gets him into trouble. I have lived a very long time because I know how to live with such things. I may not succeed, but sometimes the wisdom is knowing that you are not the one that needs to succeed. I am not so foolhardy that the way that Itamar would govern is right or just. I know that my place in such thing, my goal is to win, but that is not always the best outcome. I've found that in many of the stories of the past, it has been the third to watch the other two, and to make sure that the right one is the one who won. Or to just have a good time. Either way!
Well, knowing that that is what you wish, so I sort of just bring an arm over to your other shoulder, Persephone, and pull you in close. You can feel my snake sort of closing in around you. So,
What's the new snake look like?
that one's sort of wrapped around me. It's not in my hair.
Yeah, but what color? Come on, we need to know.
Strange Fey Touch snake. It's actually almost completely black, although when light shines upon it, there's almost this soft blue like sheen across its body. Its eyes actually glow a soft blue when they open. No slits within them, just these soft little glowing pearls.
New friend.
You can see him poking out from underneath my armor. So, Persephone, what is it that is bothering you? What is it you're feeling with this whole irreconcilable situation? You're stuck between a rock, a hard place, and a pit of spikes, it seems. And you have no idea what it is you're going to do to fix it. Neither do your friends, really. How does that make you feel? She looks at you with just
Honestly, I'm really stressed out because it's not even just the fact that I have to stop this wedding. I mean, when I first came here, I thought it was going to be as simple as getting my brother out of a wedding, but it's actually way more complicated than that. It's okay. So it's getting my brother out of the wedding for his sake. That's one thing, and that's what I'm all in for. But so before my father was the High Lord, my aunt was the one that was the High Lady of Inalin. And she was very, very selfish and power hungry. And she was really, really good at politicking. And my mother describes it as she single-handedly got us into the Civil War. And that's a lot of burden to carry on the shoulders of one small family. And ever since the war had ended, we've been trying to make things better. And that's the other side of this that's stressful. Queen Titania, this wedding is part of an exchange. The union to a mortal with the noble heart that she wants, in exchange for what is called the Blessing of the Sealy Court. And it's supposed to give a lot of magic to Inalin, to Illyria, and it's supposed to be a really, really good thing. A really, really good thing for all of Illyria because of my family going through with this bargain. So canceling it means that we basically stop the Elven Nation from progressing, and we don't make ourselves look better. If anything, we make ourselves look worse. And that's kind of where things started to fall apart for me. That's honestly where everything started to fall apart for me, because I'm not trying to embarrass and dishonor my family any more so than we've already been. And it's like, how do I stop this wedding that I need to stop without it being completely detrimental to what my father's plans are? But the good news is the wedding isn't the linchpin in this. It's just part of the negotiation. So we still need to renegotiate the deal. Father says that we shouldn't, and Father isn't going to help with that.
But you spoke to your father.
Yeah, it was not comfortable.
I would suspect not, but I'm glad that you did.
Thank you. I am too. And I know my father means well. So I don't want to disappoint him either. And I know when we first got here and when we learned about the key, I know I said that we're not going to take it because it would be very bad for somebody like my father to have lost the key. But them testing out that gateway, it's created a really big strain on the Zendaluralda. And so I'm also stuck on this third position where I'm a guardian. Lifts up plant hand in grand gesture. I essentially swore an oath to protect spirits of Fae and Primordial and Prime, and the crystal tree needs a break. So I think we're gonna have to take the key.
Speaking on that, as Swift Hollow reaches into her bag and she produces a keyring full of these tools as she spins it around on her finger. As she gives you a wink. I got a skeleton key.
You're spinning it around, Swift Hollow. One of them lands right into your hand. This small, single metal thimble that seems to reverberate ever so softly with a quiet noise. As you
There
show
is
off
one
this-
problem. Oh, sorry.
I'll just show off a little cool toy, a little strangely magical contraption.
There's a slight problem with it, and it's quite loud. I was hoping one of us, or perhaps two of us, would have a way of circumventing this.
The noise I can take care of if I go with you to get.
Oh, no. As she gestures to Persephone and the stone. A watch that has as many gears is very intricate, but if a single gear gets holed up, the entire watch falls apart. I do not want many moving parts for this.
Oh. I don't know.
You need me
if
to create a distraction.
No, your stone, Persephone, the one that stores spells.
Oh,
I think
right.
my magic would break it. Do you have something, Persephone? I cannot.
So wait, you need.
Is there not a spell that makes everything quiet?
It
I
is.
used to use it sometimes on patrol.
I even have such incantations, but my magic is powerful always. I cannot weaken it to fit within the constraints of such a paltry and pathetic vessel.
What about you, Luna?
Claire's just been silently drinking her hot leaf water and says, "No, I don't have the silence spell. Sorry."
Might have to go take her with you then.
Could we not find someone that in the kingdom that knows it? Or do you know it, Persephone?
I don't think I know that spell.
Actually,
And it cannot be helped.
as I sort of look down to my arm, can you channel my magic?
As you hear in the reverberating in your mind, through a simple touch.
But I have to be close to you, don't I?
Within a certain reach, yes. But again, I can only deliver what your hand would touch. Shall I explain magic to you?
No, you smart Alec.
So, we
If
are
it
going
cannot
to...
be helped, then I will need additional preparations, but...
Can
I'm
I
all
just
set,
understand
Persephone.
something? You want to steal the key. Your brother doesn't want to get married. But you don't want the blessing to be taken away from your people because that looks bad on your family. So, if I understand this correctly, we are going to steal the key, go to the Feywild, and negotiate a new deal that doesn't involve your brother marrying this lady. But
Exactly.
still allowing your people to get the blessing.
Yes, we are going to renegotiate the terms of agreement.
Honestly, all of this sounds incorrect in my eyes. You said something about your father wasn't the one that made this deal, correct?
Yes, that's another thing. Uncle Galleon, so the key, let's start with the key. It's an artifact that has been around since the conception of the council, but it didn't really have a lot of it wasn't working for a long time. But Galleon fixed it, according to my father. And not only did he fix it, But he was the one that was able to, through his own methods, speak with Queen Titania and basically broker this deal.
So, from my very apparent mission-oriented mindset, it seems like your uncle is evil and he's doing something, and you need to get to him to figure out what the actual deal is, because there's more to this deal than your father knows.
He might not be evil, Luna, but he is definitely
I don't
has his
know.
own self-interests in mind.
Someone's
Maybe.
malicious,
But I
according
also
to your
think,
tree.
yes, exactly.
Oh,
But
that's
if
right. We need to save the tree too.
There is another solution to stealing the key. To take away what
Also-
is harming it.
Well,
Somehow I might have
so-
stumbled upon something underneath.
wait. In the bellows?
Indeed. There's a man, the one that I spoke of before, the kingpin. When the tree is giving off the magic, some of it is taken and not returned, being shipped away piece by piece. I believe Samantha may even have a piece.
A gift of sorts. Sort of reach within past the snake and into my pockets and pull out a small diamond. It seems to be charged with extra magic. An obvious glance. Quite beautiful, isn't it?
How'd you pull that off?
Talking to the right people. We all have our talents. The
That
boss
has a lot of
man
magic on it.
has been holding on to magic from your special tree, it seems. So it is being pulled on from 2 different directions, chipped away at by the drow and channeled into this gate repeatedly. It is only a matter of time before something snaps. So, taking the gate, or rather the key, or disabling the gate, it would certainly help alleviate one half of the problem. Unless
Might
you
not
had
fix
something
it.
in mind with the kingpin, Tamar.
Something of selfish import, but nothing that I particularly need. But if we stop the leak, even if the gate still operates and even if the tree is still tired by it, it might give us enough time to do what we need to do. And I might have another solution to that as well.
I finally let go of Persephone, let you sit back in your seat properly, lean over the table towards Tamar Khan. What exactly are you thinking when it comes to dealing with the underground? Holding the diamond in one hand, most of my snakes looking towards you.
Oh, the underground. No, it's the kingpin simply has an item that interests me. If he happened to find himself in a bit of trouble, who knows what would happen to his possessions. But again, it's something minor. The solution is what I am talking about is to everything. Do you want to hear?
Yes.
Wonderful. If your people want the blessing of a fae, and you want your brother to be free of responsibility from it, we simply do both. If there's one thing in the Feywild that is true, it is that competition runs rampant between those who own things. If this Fey Lord wants to make a contract, I'm sure there is another Fey Lord that will want her to fail. So, you simply make a deal with another. One with more favorable terms.
Pitting one noble against another. Now that is an idea that sounds like it came out of my mouth.
I'm going to hold on to that, but I do just want to talk to Queen Titania, because there is still the question of why she wants what it is that she wants. So my proposal is we're going to take Calliope's way. It's not going to be as easy as using the gate. My father has no idea that we know where it is, and he definitely doesn't know that we know how to use it or activate it. So we're going to take the key, we're going to go Calliope's way. That way the Zendalorada doesn't have to have any more magic being pulled from it. I don't know much of how long the Bellows has been getting magic, but the tree itself is magical, and roots kind of go in really, really deep. So I don't think that's something that is brand new. It seems like something that could have been happening for a while. And if that's the only thing pulling the Zendalorada's magic, then that's not as bad as the gate. It'll be fine. It'll give Zendi a break. And then we're gonna go talk to Queen Titania, and we'll figure it out from there.
If we take the key, would it not be better to just simply take the gate then? Less chance for someone to catch up to us. I don't know what resources the city has at its disposal, but it doesn't sound like we can just travel to this location quickly. Not to mention your magic is not a reliable source here. We could end up somewhere terrible.
I fear that there's a large amount of guards marching this way.
There are.
If you tell your father that you're going gallivanting, can he technically stop you? Or would he say don't go, or would he say I prefer you not to go?
I invited him. I told him that we could escort him through the Feywild so he can actually speak to Queen Titania himself, because he hasn't, and he just said no.
Well, no, not tell him that we're going to the Feywild. Just tell him that, you gotta go back to, I want to say Mobia, but I feel like that's the world.
No, yeah, that's Mobia.
Hearth is the word.
Hearth is the world. You got it. The reason why I don't want to take
business to attend to in the forest.
Sure. I'll say my goodbyes. I've had the whole week to kind of figure out how I wanted to go about it. We're going to take the key. We're going to take Calliope's way into the Feywilds. Because I'm only taking the key so that the gate doesn't get powered because it's become a strain on the tree. Kind of defeats the purpose if we use the gate.
Right, so we're still stealing the key. Won't they freak out?
Yes, we're taking it away. I think Father is going to want to cover for himself. It's not a perfect plan, and I know it kind of goes against a lot of the things that I didn't want to happen. So I'm kind of juggling my priorities and taking a leap of faith. I want to help Rael, and as a guardian, I want to help take a burden away from the Zendalorada. And my leap of faith is that when Father discovers the key is missing, and discovers that I'm also missing, maybe he'll figure it out, and maybe he'll cover. Not necessarily for my sake, but maybe for his.
Definitely for his.
And if that's not what happens, then I'll handle it when I get back. But the bottom line is, we need to go speak to Queen Titania. And this is how I think I want to do it. So, how bad of an idea is it? Awful, right?
Calliope said that her way was extremely dangerous, correct?
Yeah, but Calliope doesn't know what we're capable of.
Tamakon,
That's
how
the
dangerous
thing,
is that place of the Feywild?
The Unseelie Court, if you don't remember.
As I said, the Unseelie Courts, it depends where you come to it. If we go to the Wildwood Hearts, it would be a hard place to escape from, as we would be inside something that everything around us would want us dead. But somewhere else. If Calliope can come and go as a... Yeah, she didn't seem all that powerful, even though if she is a daughter of a Fey Lord. It should be safe enough for dragon slayers, at least. Maybe the common folk might have a harder time. I have perfect faith that we would be okay.
So you're saying we get to
Maybe.
find something there?
Most definitely,
Good.
I'm sure. We're not very quiet, and there's a number of us. I'm sure Calliope is using her fey trickery to slip past whatever it is would want to stop her. We don't have those tricks, unfortunately. We do have might. So we go to try to talk to Titania, see what we can get with that, and if that doesn't pan out, we perhaps investigate to Marcon's. Wonderful little idea. But hopefully it won't come to that. Dealing with two powerful Fey nobles is more than I really want to do, if need be.
Story of the rebellion of the young against the old is time-honored tradition, and I have nothing against tradition.
If I may make a proposal, oh, what an apt choice. Since we are going to have, what, perhaps a day before you initiate this little escapade, Persephone, with Swift Hollow absconding with the key and us meeting somewhere with Calliope and getting out of the city, I propose that, if you can, each of us try to think of something that we can offer this queen. Something we can use as a bargaining chip. Dig deep within yourselves. Perhaps there's more to you than you have even told us in this adventure we've gone on. It may not pan
Easy.
out.
That's the perfect thing.
No, of course you do.
Is it an orgy?
It's an orgy, yes, you got it at once.
We don't want to
However,
leave our little...
I do have one slight issue. I kind of promised someone not to bring someone to very dangerous areas, but like I feel like if I leave Bran here, and we disappear with the key. So Bran, are you ready to go on a Feywild adventure?
Could we not just drop him off with Persephone's former teacher?
If it's on the way.
We're also.
I can also go hide with the gnome. He's pretty well tucked away in that room.
I'm sure the prince will protect his newfound lover. I don't see the problem.
Oh my god.
Tamarkan, is this some sort of fetish for you?
Why? Am I in trouble if they say yes, or...
I mean, it's just an interesting tidbit to know about you. You seem very, very persistent in trying to hook Brad up with this prince.
Is there a pretty one out there? I'll make the sacrifice for a really pretty one.
Calliope
Wait, are
is
you
beautiful.
saying that
Yeah.
the prince is not good looking, Brad?
The fire?
That's no.
I don't think
Persephone's brother.
he hasn't
That's
seen
not
Rael.
fair.
He was in the...
He hasn't met
Him.
Rael.
Oh, your that's a little. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I'm good. Yeah, if I can come with you, I might make mom sore, but I could otherwise just hide. I need to hide.
Well, I wasn't going to leave without telling anyone. That's kind of what I did last time. So
We should probably
maybe
come
Mother
up with a plan of where we're going, Persephone. I wouldn't be surprised if they question all of us in a sly manner.
I doubt they'll have
I
time.
thought they were just going to... We were
We're
assuming
not-
they don't know it was us,
we're not
yes?
We're not prisoners. We can come and go as we please.
Yes, but
Persephone's gonna go.
sometimes it's good to tell where we are going, just in case they want to go look for us there. Lead them in the opposite direction.
Yeah, certainly doable. We have a mission from Incantation of 10 to go do some Fey research, a missive I received just yesterday. Simple enough.
What were you saying, Persephone?
I was just gonna try to. I was just gonna try to sneak out of the city. I mean, I've done it before, and Kelpie has her way around, and we have the magic to do it.
Wonderful.
Has anyone tested their magic in the city?
Don't the woods affect magic differently?
Well, that's what I mean by the city. I don't know if the city is protected.
Well, I didn't feel a pull when we were fighting Lacerin.
Oh, that's true. I did not actually. Oh, okay then.
So, and we don't need to get far. We just need to get out of the gate. Because as you remember, when we came in here, we weren't really greeted by guards. They're just kind of in the towers. The gate just opens.
Easily get myself out of the gate. Some of you have flying carpets and things. I'm sure we will find a way easily enough.
Luna has the carpets. I have my owls. We have some invisibility magic. I can turn people into other things. I could turn into an owl. We have lots of different ways of sneaking out of here.
I doubt leaving is our biggest problem.
Yeah, that's another thing. By the time they realize what we've done, they wouldn't really be able to stop us.
Stay far away from fights.
Get out.
Bram.
Go to Feywild, find Titania, see what she's wanting about. If she seems to be not a good partner. That is the hang up. Is one way or another, no marriage, yes?
Not to
No
Rail,
marriage.
anyway.
Yeah, the Rail doesn't want to get married. That's kind of the thing. It's not about her being nice or not. It's just she's not the person he wants to marry.
Yeah. But if you think he will like her?
Well, then he needs to make that choice. He shouldn't have to be forced into a marriage and then figure it out later.
But you spoke with your brother.
If you say anything about Bran, I swear to God, Tomorcon.
No! I just thought maybe with
So-
Bran not accompanying us, it feels like our party is awfully light, and we could have
Take
another.
your brother, is what he's suggesting. Have him meet her, and there's a chance he may like her. Not a terrible
Seems like we are
idea.
making the decision for him one way or the other.
But Persephone said
And
that you
that's-
didn't want to get married, correct?
Yes,
Correct.
but, you
Because
know,
he's told you this.
Yeah, he's only really going through with the marriage so that he doesn't disappoint father, and he thinks going through with the marriage would put some of the pressure off of me so I could continue adventuring.
Noble
There's nothing about this
sacrifice.
arrangement that benefits him.
so we take the key, we take your brother, and we abscond to the Feywild.
No.
It's easy for her father to hide the key's whereabouts. It would be extremely hard for him to describe why the bridegroom is disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly seems
I'm
making for a very
hoping-
fun story.
Fine,
Father
you're
isn't
no
going to
fun.
want. The last thing Father's going to want is to let the council know there is potential that this wedding could be canceled. And he really wouldn't want to let them know that he lost the key because he's supposed to be really, really, really careful and responsible. And, it's not like I need to lie to my father. He'll know that I took it. We'll just be gone already.
Alright then, so we meet tomorrow somewhere and head out with Kellepie.
Oh, we need to
But,
plan the stealing first.
I need to tell Calliope and Swift Hollow, how long do you need for other preparations to get the key?
How high was the window?
Pretty dang high. You're able to
Mhm.
climb down carefully. I'd probably say at least like
Mhm.
90 feet in total.
Mm-hmm. Who casted fire magic on us? We didn't have any fire
Her
magic.
Fae.
Those
Keep-
Luna way back in the day when she was someone
Oh,
else.
yeah, that too. When she had big
Yeah.
old shadow wings.
It was Persephone's Fae.
The first problem is scaling up to his household. I know I could do it by myself, but... As she looks at Samantha. We'll need a way for you to get up, and I guess both of us to get up 90 feet. I know what I can use, I'm not sure. If we have magic.
I can get up, but
a
getting
quill door.
down is the problem.
I can
Fae
make
friends.
I can make you walk on walls and such without any really climbing. And I could put it in Persephone's bracelet.
That would also work.
How well guarded were the surroundings of the house?
The entire area has guards basically everywhere. It's mostly the
Mhm.
inside that has the most amount of just armed soldiers watching, but there are watchmen on the outside. You'd probably have to move in cover of dark. Even then, they'd probably be able to see you, at least see some things with their dark vision. It's basically the surrounding noble manor of the Emerald Chateau. So
Yeah.
you'd probably have lots of eyes around, unless you can just hide your presence completely.
But I need to
There's a
focus my
visibility,
mind
but-
on your magic.
Light isn't the problem, it's the sound that concerns her. This Hollow knows how to step silently.
Yeah.
How far do we have to
Looks at
walk from the window?
Oh, it's getting to the window in the first place, but if we could have your Fae friends, as she gestures to Persephone, do that little diddle they did on Quildor back when we fought that fire prince, whatever his name was.
Listen.
And you cast your invisibility on us, Samantha. We could most likely float our way over to the window past all the guards.
Not a problem. How far the window leads right to his room?
Which window did I open that was the closest to his
The
office?
closest, so his office had no windows in it, but the closest
Yep.
one was probably about, let's see, about 100 or so feet away in the actual bedroom itself. It's not a big one, but it's enough for someone like you to slip there, someone of your size. Makes you pretty tall. You're lanky though. So yeah, probably in the bedroom about 100 feet away. Because next to his office was basically the bathroom. So like the windows are in the main room, and then there's also a bit of a study, but the actual key itself was kept in his office.
Once we get to the window, it'll be very imperative you do not touch anything. For the only window that we can really breach through is through his bedroom. In order to get to his study, to get to his office.
Understood. Might I remind you, if need be, in terms of footsteps, I can turn myself into a snake. There's no footsteps to be heard.
Small one.
Small enough.
She points to your hair.
Not that small, no.
Hmm.
Do you need me to cast my sneaking magic on you? If Samantha's making you both invisible and... Oh no, wait, I need to make sure you guys fly. I need to concentrate on that. Yeah, it's not gonna work.
You put it into your stone.
I could put it into my stone.
Oh, there we go.
Man, I just filled this stone up too. I'm gonna have to empty all the magic from it first.
A fireworks show somewhere.
That hides us from sight. That will cover us from sound. Flight to bypass the guards, and then we have your magic to conceal all the magic of my key. And then once we get the cube, we just do the steps in reverse and abscond.
Yeah, once we're done with that, I can just teleport us right out of the room. I have Dimension Door, so I can visualize us back on the ground and get us out of there. I've just never seen the room that you're referring to, otherwise I could teleport us in.
But that would break your invisibility.
Yes, but we'd be back on the ground.
Where all the guards are.
It's 500 feet.
What if... Well, you could always just
Is it?
go to my room. You know what that looks like.
Yeah. It actually makes for a better cover story if someone sees us going from somewhere else.
Is it within 500 feet of the master?
Mm-hmm. Take some feet going down another room to the side, about 200 feet, but eventually, yeah, you can just...
And there
I
we
can
have
bamf
it.
us tons of places.
Okay,
And
so
also,
I
I
need to
wasn't
put...
referring to you, Samantha. How did you do it? As she points it to Marcon. You have magic. He doesn't.
Very long time. I spent it a while in the city. And it's not exactly like I did not get caught a time or two. Persistence, more than anything. Well, I was not nearly as skilled back then. I was still relatively young. Did not quite have a grasp on certain things as I do now. Mostly, subverting attention. It's a powerful thing. Also, I was not trying to particularly steal anything of quite such value. The things that I took, they weren't terribly missed.
Trisol nods as she accepts that answer. Very well. So we have the key unlock. Is there any other machination you have, Persephone?
I'm going to give you a note. I want you to leave it where the key was. But that's it.
Consider it done.
Okay, so... How long do you need? A day?
Oh, I mean, if we have a... No, we need your magic. How long will it take you to empty your stone and refill it?
It actually won't take long at all. I have the magic that you need on hand. I just need to cast the magic out of this stone. Like, I can't just replace it. When I first got this stone, it already had a spell in it. And I had to cast that spell before I could put more spells in it. And I freaked out the entire party because it looked like I set a boat on fire while we were on it.
Ah, I remember that. God, that was so long ago.
Oh, yeah, it will
If we
just take
have
a couple
all-
minutes.
If we have all the magic we need at our disposal, we can just do it tonight. If no one else has any other preparations or outstanding business they must attend to.
Just one more thing, as Persephone plucks a little dragonfly off of her little flower. I need you to go get Calliope. If she's ready, tell her we're leaving tonight. I set off the little dragonfly to go notify our new friend.
Toss this dragonfly in the air. Bumps into the door. Bumps into the door. Bran gets up, opens the door. Out the door it goes.
Classic.
So am I staying here or am I going? I'm not.
You can stay. I need to talk to Rail and Mother first. You should be fine, though.
But I should be hiding though, because it sounds like you guys are be doing something kind of bad.
You can always just spend a bit of
Bad.
time in prison. The prisons here are not that bad.
We're taking one of the most prized and guarded items that the city holds. Kind of bad.
But we're all assuming my father is going to let the entire city know. when I ran away, he didn't tell everybody I ran away. The whole city thought I just left on a trip.
Yes, but we don't want
If
to be
anything-
picked up by the secret police and interrogated.
I just mean your dad. Your dad's kind of a really intense guy, and he might.
Ask him some
Yeah,
questions.
Here with
Yes,
us. I have an idea. I'm going to, if this doesn't offend you, Koldor, I'm sorry. I'm going to find your friend Theron and ask if he can, looking at Koldor, train Bran. Just so Bran, can widen his horizons and just so that he has an alibi and Bran's just over there training. He's doing nothing wrong,
Thank
And
you,
then-
Brad. The pig is very clean, very hospitable. Barely any torture.
And then
So
you could get to know Rail, not in the way that Samarkand wants you to, just, as a friend.
You think that work?
It should work.
I think it should work. And
All right.
I mean, I intend to tell probably Mother, someone. I haven't figured out which gamble I wanted to take between those two. But I gotta tell one of them where I'm going.
He's the one
Your
with the vested
mother would
interest.
understand too.
They,
Yes,
yeah,
your brother
exactly.
has
They
the
would both
most to
understand. I
gain.
might just be able to tell them both.
You should tell
So-
them both.
You think I should?
They deserve to.
Tell them that we are taking the thing or that we are leaving.
That we're leaving.
Alright.
They'll figure out the rest once we're gone.
Alright, well, I'm going to go find your boyfriend. Goodbye.
I'll go with her. Apparently, yeah.
As I
with-
get up, just sort of put a hand on Persephone's shoulder as I'm standing up and sort of lean down and sort of whisper down into your ear. I am your friend, Persephone. I've got your back. Sort of just leave with that.
So he just smiles to herself and nods. Holdor, I'm sorry I called you a jerk earlier.
It's fine. I kinda am a jerk.
Well, maybe we'll have some time to talk about why?
Maybe.
Okay. So Persephone takes out her stone. I got to blow a lot of wind everywhere for a little bit. And walks out with it.
Gonna go blow a lot of hot air real quick.
Did she just tell us she has to go fucking fart everywhere? What is this?
It's a rip ass.
Not the town?
Rip ass. At least she left
Yes,
the room
Lord.
first.
Oh my god.
It's true.
Yeah,
Yes, manners.
I put detect magic and some gusts of winds in my stone.
Gotcha. All right.
See, she's gotta go break wind.
As
Yes.
Persephone leaves with Hollow calls out in very broken Sylvan. I don't know, just a word, not anything that she can think of. As she just like makes a scribbling motion, a pen motion on a piece of napkin.
Avocado.
Avocado. There you go. That's just. I know. Free Shavakadu.
That's Sylvan.
Voice.
I'm calling it.
Oh God, no! Please, no! Don't will that into it. Anyways, yeah, she's just calling back to that night. As she returns to her meal. Because I'm sure it's great. Because I'm sure we totally ordered food, and that waitress definitely wasn't.
Oh yeah,
eating.
you've been having you've had a spread of food basically placed for you guys when you came in.
Ah, excellent.
I got every
Complimentary
complimentary pastry they had.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of it's complimentary to the fact that you have one of the presiding ladies of Inland here, so they want to treat her. And boy, howdy, did they have to treat you guys? Some of you guys have a pretty strong appetite, as indeed. As that is where we'll end tonight's session with the Valiant Vanguard dispersing for the remaining day to only rejoin.
Well,
One more thing?
One more thing. Sorry.
No.
What's up?
Luna, darling.
Huh?
I know we'd been sort of conversing back and forth with some new arcane discoveries, and I don't know if you've had time with your book reading to acquire something for yourself, but it's sad the surprise was ruined. I wanted to give you something.
Why?
You got ooed.
Ewed.
Ew.
Because despite what it is you may say, I think there is a certain degree of closeness between you and I.
I would say that I agree, but I mean, I didn't get you anything.
You didn't have to. That's not the point. I take out the magically supercharged 300 GP diamond. I have a use for this for myself, but I think for now, it'd be better for you to have it.
I mean, didn't you, like, do shady things in the underbelly of the city to earn this? I mean, you don't have to give this to me.
No, I don't have to. I want to. Because you're some degree of special to me, Luna, and this symbolizes that.
So that I just gives Samantha a hug and a kiss on the forehead. So I think I'm taller than you. I'm taller than that.
Very much taller than you.
Yeah, very much. I think I'm like
T-pose over her.
5'7".
Uh-huh.
Thanks, Samantha. Certainly cheered me up after earlier comments that I don't really feel like getting into right now.
I know. I sort of just look up at you with a surprising degree of softness before that sort of noble composure comes back over my face. It's all right. We'll see to it that it's done. And I have not at all forgotten about you. As we lead Bran to his new substitute teacher. That's all I got for you.
Sure. As again, the Valiant Vanguard begin to disperse themselves among the city of Inalin for later when the sun begins to set. A heist will take place, as that is where we will begin our next session in the heat of a grand heist to steal a relic that will link the worlds, and in this case will apparently drain some life from a very important entity truly in the city of Inalin, something of an act of mercy on behalf of the kind Persephone. Now, strangely, I guess now having a very private moment with her party, a very personal, open moment regarding their relationships, and it seems to have blossomed into something, some degrees good, some degrees a bit more vulnerability opening up. Where it will transpire, how will this carry them in this strangely relationship-focused arc? We'll have to see on the next episode of Song of Rapture.
Orgy.
Role playing. Da-na-na-na-na. Role playing. Oh yeah. Oh god, it's been fucking good to fucking play some D&D. Oh. I needed this. I was fucking. Oh, Jesus. Well, thank you all so much for hanging out with us for the return of some Song of Rapture. It's been an absolute privilege to share our wonderful little story with you guys. Thanks for so much for hanging out. Thanks to Dicey Tyrants for the host earlier. Thanks, Johnny Thunder, once again for the resub. Your support is greatly appreciated, along with Robert, Halasith, Mad, Femby, Fisi Pereira, and Jakers Jackets. Thank you all so much for following. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you come back for more. We do have another game, Heroes of Thylia, but it is currently on hiatus for personal reasons, plus holiday stuff. So it'll be coming back most likely in 2021, but there is a wonderful collection of podcast recordings and VOD recordings on YouTube. So if you haven't seen Heroes of Thylia, you want to check out our cool Mythic Greek adventure, be sure to check that out. There's also, of course, 100 fucking episodes of Song of Rapture as well, so be sure to check those out, and hope to see you in the future when we come back with more of that. We're coming back next Thursday for more Song of Rapture. Oh yeah, so more D&D next Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I want to thank you all so much for hanging out, and with that, we're gonna go find somebody, hopefully, streaming some wonderful D&D, give them some love as well, and bid you adieu. So as always, may your dice roll 20s, and you always make your saves.
Later, y'all.
Toodles.